This conference will now be recorded.
Well, hello and welcome again. I'm Dr. David Hargroder, and I'm here with my special guest, Leandra. And Leandra, why don't you tell the audience just a little bit about yourself?
I am a teacher and I've been teaching for about 12 years and a mom of 5 children currently. I'm a foster parent as well. And I love music and reading, and I'm just your typical single mom, I guess. Well, I'm not single anymore,
Awesome.
but
So you had your MGB surgery back about 5 years ago, right?
yes, October 20th of 2020.
Did you have any like medical issues or anything? What was it that sort of motivated you to look into weight loss surgery?
I had been looking into it for a long time. I was tired of feeling tired. And my current 7-year-old at the time was a toddler, and I wanted to be able to get down and play with her. I wanted to be able to like be a parent and be able to like go outside with her and not be tired. I also have two other kiddos that I've adopted from foster care, and one of them, like at the time he was 10 and he wanted me to go outside and throw the ball around with him. Well, I'd get tired by the time I got home from work, and I didn't have the energy to go outside and play with him. I didn't have the energy to do anything. And so I looked into weight loss surgery. I looked into all the different ones. My sister had the actual full bypass, and I knew what it was like with her when she went through it. And so I started looking into your surgery to see what the mini gastric bypass would look like compared. And I really liked the fact it had a faster heal time, and that I'd be able to be, first of all, that I would have less incisions and it was less dangerous, and that the bounce back rate, like the people that would continually have success with the surgery, was higher than with the actual gastric bypass. And so all the positives in it is what made it where I wanted to have this surgery. I actually had came to one of your sessions in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and for a year, I like debated and saved up and knew this is what I wanted to do. And then COVID hit. And so then I had to wait a couple years. And by the time like I was able to actually have the surgery towards the end of COVID in 2020, I had really known that this was the decision I wanted to make. And to be honest with you, it was the best decision of my life because, and I kind of wish I'd done it earlier, but it changed my life. Like I have been able to jump on a trampoline with my kids and ride a bike with my kids, be able to go outside and throw the ball around. I've been able to play with my 7-year-old and not get tired or winded just from going up a set of steps. Like the possibilities, I can ride rides at Silver Dollar City, and I can ride rides at water parks. I'm not always like feeling like I have to like at the end when I was overweight, I would have to sleep on the couch because I couldn't even breathe at night to sleep. And when I had the surgery, like I can actually sleep in a bed flat and not have to have myself elevated because I was so overweight that it was causing me breathing problems. I also had severe like knee problems, back problems. I didn't have blood pressure, but I was borderline diabetic. And when I had the surgery, I left, and you say this statement, and to me it was like, oh, whatever, I'm not gonna leave with no meds when I leave. Like my knee pain is still gonna be there, my back pain is gonna be there. But when I left, I was off my pain meds. Like I was actually didn't have to take them anymore. I mean the damage is still there from the knee. I'm still gonna eventually have to have a knee replacement because I was, 30 something when I had the surgery. But I prolonged the surgery for another 5 years. I haven't had it yet, and they said I was gonna have to have it the next year or 2 when I was overweight. And so, having the surgery helped my body as well as, like, my self-esteem, and, it helped me be a better mom to my kids and a better teacher to my students. Like, I could jump around the classroom and have more energy, and I wasn't just the teacher that sat at my desk. Like, I was able to actually move around. So that's been nice.
Did your students know that you were going for surgery, or was this like what has happened to our teacher? Where
Yes. So they I had the surgery in October, or not October, I'm sorry, December. I keep saying October, but it was December, December 20th. I had the surgery December, and they knew I left early for the break. And then when I came back and they found out, it was really funny because I wasn't hungry, obviously. And I had some students, I'm a speech and debate coach when I was having the surgery. And so on the weekends, I'd go with my students and they got really close to me. They're my own kids. And some of them would come in at lunchtime and check on me and be like, Miss Leah, Miss Shaw, how much did you eat? Let me see what you ate today. Did you eat enough food? And they're like checking on me because they know I was losing so much weight so fast. They were worried I was starving myself and they were worried that something was wrong. And then to look back now, like I've had some students I've come across because I've been teaching 12 years. And so to see some of the students I first taught or students that I taught even 10 years ago, when they see me now, they're like, it's just, you're a whole different person. Like literally, I don't recognize you. And to look back at pictures of me before and they talk about it, they're like, it's just a shock to me that you look so different and that like my energy level is so different. And I'm already a pretty peppy, high energy person, but then to add having the surgery, it just kind of amplified my energy and what I was able to do.
Kind of got to peel you off the walls and
Yes.
off the ceiling now, huh? You're
Yes.
kind of riding high.
Yes.
Well, how
And
much?
like where I currently teach, I teach at Lakeland and I have to do holds on kids when they are out of control. I could never have done that when I was overweight. I wouldn't be able to have the job I have now. And I love the
What do
job
you
I have.
mean? Just like you wrap
Yeah,
them
so
in
yeah,
a
like if a kid gets
pillow?
like yeah, if a kid gets out of control to be able to like safely hold them. Well, I was so big, I wouldn't have been able to like to grab their arms and hold them or do the safe holds. Like I wouldn't have been able to get this job because and to be able to help the kids I've been able to help at my job I'm at because I had the
Yeah.
surgery.
Well, if you don't mind saying, how much total weight did you lose?
I started off, I think it was like 363 by the time I went and weighed on surgery day. And I have gotten down to, I fluctuate right now. I fluctuate between 220 to 223. And I've been here about 3 years at the same
Good.
area. Like I've gained 10 pounds here and then lost it, doing the techniques you talked about, like making sure that you drink lots of fluids if you notice you're gaining some. Go back to the soup diet for a little bit. I mean, it only took like a week or two of drinking those fluids to see it come back off.
Right.
And so like that did help a lot. But yeah, I've fluctuated, but I've stayed where I've lost a whole like literally I cut my weight in almost half.
That's pretty awesome.
Mhm.
And it sounds like, I mean, just gosh, just your energy level sounds like it's really through the roof, and that's wonderful. Especially with the kind of job that you have
Yes.
and looking after the kids and stuff. Uh, what was probably the biggest surprise you had about the surgery? Things, maybe benefits that you weren't expecting or didn't realize were going to be
Um,
there.
I didn't, what did I not expect? I did a lot of research. So, and so I think that that helped. But I think that one of the things I didn't expect, or when you said it, I was like, whatever, that doesn't make sense. I think that you had told us that it's going to take a while for your brain to catch up with the weight loss.
Yeah,
And I really did have body dysmorphia in the beginning, and I'm still at a point where I walk around some days and I still see fat Leanda or the Leanda that was overweight.
right.
And I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, that's me. That's not what I'm seeing in my
Yeah,
head right now.
I've seen some studies say that it can take like up to 3 years for some people
Yeah.
to really get to
Yeah.
where their brain catches up with their actual physical being.
Right. And
You know,
that was a big shock for me. That was something that was really hard for me to wrap my mind around, because I would still I was so big that I would run into things all the time and like stab myself with like edges of desk and like fall and it stopped happening and I was like, man, I'm not a klutz anymore. Well, I'm still a klutz. It's not that. It's just my even my surface area that I would think that I was supposed to be was not the same.
right,
And to hold up some of my clothes to be able to dress in clothes that I never thought I'd ever be able to wear, to shop in sections. Like I've never been able to shop in Hollister or like American Eagle or like name brand clothes and to be able to go in there and not just shop there, but not shop at the biggest size they carry, being able to wear a
right.
size medium shirt. Cause at one point I lost so much weight, I got down to a medium and then I kind of fluctuated back up. Like you said, like we would lose a lot and then fluctuate to where we're going to be. And that did happen. But like I got so small at one point that I was like, wow, like I've been wearing 3 to 4X shirts and I'm in a medium. Like, what?
Sure. Yeah. Nice, nothing wrong with that. You know,
No.
it's not only cheaper, but just kind of fun too.
Yeah,
You know?
the clothes are a lot cheaper. I didn't realize how much cheaper clothes were because it's like half the amount of material they need.
Yeah, yeah. What, you were talking about how the pain went away almost
Hmm.
immediately and you're not on pain medicine. And
Mm-mm.
there was a time when I didn't even really mention that as one of the benefits. Like 15 years ago, I wouldn't even mention the pain improvement because while I knew a number of patients had reported that, it still seemed like I wasn't even convinced myself as
Right.
the one doing the surgery that this was a consistent enough of a result to really promote that as one of the benefits. But it is very real. And
It
it's
is.
not just the fact that you lose a lot of weight and therefore you don't have as much pressure on your knees or your hips, etc. It's like from the moment you've had the surgery, right?
Yeah.
Like I had
Yes.
a patient come in post-op for his 1 week post-op, and he was telling me, as it sounds like it was the same case with you, that he didn't need his knee brace anymore that he had been wearing
Mm-mm.
for months because
Mhm.
his knee just didn't hurt anymore. So
Yeah,
you
I
were
had
on pain medicine, and you were able
yes,
to get off of those after
yes.
the surgery, huh?
I didn't take them. I think you told me I had to stop taking them so many days before surgery or right before surgery, and I never took them again and didn't have to have any of them filled. And I walked out of there in less pain than I walked in, even with the sutures and the spots where I had the surgery because my knee was no longer in pain. Like it wasn't grinding. Like my knee was grinding and popping. Like they said that there was no cartilage left under my knee, and you could hear it and feel it pop. And like I still didn't have that pain when I walked out, and it actually stopped grinding and popping. And I'm guessing because there wasn't as much weight pushing down on it to make that sound. I mean,
Right.
like I've been to a point now where it is still like I still need a knee replacement. I'm starting to feel it again, but that's 5 years that I prolonged having to have a knee replacement or having that
Right.
pain is bad.
And I might add, it's going to be a much safer
Yes,
surgery with a
yes,
much higher likelihood of success
yes.
if and when you do ultimately have it. And you're young enough that
Right.
I'm sure you will eventually need it. But like you say, you bought yourself an extra 5 years, you know?
Right. And one of the things I do want to point out for anybody that's debating on the surgery, I watched my sister, and this was what was really hard for me to want to have the surgery and why it took so long. I sat with my sister and watched how much pain she was in after she had the full gastric bypass. It was bad. It was really, really bad to the point that like I never wanted to be in that much pain. And I watched as she struggled, and like they had her drink out of something, and they had about like a straw. So then she got air pockets in it, and it was just really a bad experience. She was screaming in pain a lot, and um, even to this day, like I did not have pain after surgery, like at all. And so, like, I mean, I had like the minor, like, oh, I have obviously had a suture here, so I have some stitches, and you came and looked at them, but it was not anywhere near like screaming, crying, needing them to give me extra pain medicine for this and extra pain medicine for that after
Right.
surgery. The hardest thing I had after surgery, to be 100% with you, was to be able to drink a whole Gatorade, and it was a little Gatorade.
Yeah.
And one of the worst side effects I have from the surgery is I cannot stand to drink Gatorade now because
Well,
you're forced to drink so much of it when you get done with surgery.
yeah.
Um, that was a side effect. I know a lot of people lose hair with it. I didn't have the hair loss. I stayed on top of the what you said we had to do. Like I took the pills, the pills that you recommended that you sold in the office.
Biotin.
Yes, the vitamins, and then I stayed on top of making sure that I used biotin shampoo and stuff like that. I made sure I had tons of protein and did all the protein you said. I never lost any hair. I never had that side effect a lot of people do with like the full gastric bypass. So like what I would say to anybody is like absolutely listen to what Dr. Hargroder says because it does like what you say does work if we follow it to a T. 100% it does. And so I know it sounds like, oh, now I got to pay for these pills, or now I got to pay for this, or now I have to do this, but it does make a difference if you don't want to lose your hair. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you saying that. We have a lot of advice to give people,
mhm.
and it's nice when they actually avail themselves to that information,
Yes.
because it's frustrating when you see someone struggling or you hear about somebody struggling, and it's like, well, why didn't they call me? They've
Right.
got my
Right.
number. Why didn't
And
if
I've had
I hear through the grapevine someone is struggling, and it's like, well, why don't they call me? And
Well, and
so,
I will say this, I don't know if you remember, but because it was 5 years ago and you've done hundreds of surgeries, I'm sure since then. But I was supposed to call in with you every day at noon to double check, and I found that that's something when I've told people they should come get the surgery from you, and I've like advertised for it. I said like he gave me his personal cell phone number to call him if there was an emergency. Like every day, I'm supposed to call at noon to check in, but if I ever need to call him anytime. And I said I woke up one day, and this is gonna sound graphic. So, but I woke up and I had blood everywhere, and I was like, "What is happening?" So I call you, and I'm freaking out, like sitting on the toilet, fully clothed, just like blood dripping everywhere. And you're like, "This is good. Get in the shower." And I was like, "What?" And so you told me I had to push it out because I had a blood clot, and you said it's gonna look like a murder scene, but push it out because that's what you have to, like, you want this so it doesn't get infected. And I was like, okay. And I did. And it was the coolest thing I've ever seen because it did look like a murder scene. But to be able, like, because I wouldn't have known what to do. I would have rushed the emergency room. I would have freaked out. But to be able to have access to my surgeon right after surgery and to be able to check in with you and have that support was huge. And that's one thing that I've told a lot of people when they ask me where I got it done. What did I do? Oh, did you go to Mexico? This one thing about doing it. And I was like, no, you need to go with him. Like he's super supportive. And I was able to call him like for a week solid or however long it was. And he would check in with me. Like he actually cares to make sure his patients are doing well after the surgery. And I told him about like my incident and that you were there to help me through it and to make sure I was okay and to walk me through what to do instead of me having to go spend more money at an emergency room and then try to figure out what's going on when it was something as simple as like it was a blood clot I had to push out and it healed itself. And
yeah, it was to be. I want to clarify this for anyone that might be watching this. It
yes,
wasn't the kind of blood clot that's like a bad blood clot you
no,
get in your veins. This was a hematoma at one of your incision sites.
yes,
And so it's like clotted blood right up under the incision, right?
hmm,
And so you
yes,
squeeze, kind of like squeezing a pimple, and a whole bunch of that clotted
yes,
blood came out.
yes.
Yeah, and
But like
that's
my
nothing.
kid is
That's a
like,
totally, kind of a not dangerous
mhm,
dilemma. And like you said, saved yourself an ER visit. So I was
yes.
glad we were able
But having
to help.
that support from you afterwards was very helpful and it was very
They
nice
can
to have.
certainly, I can see where for someone who's not used to being around, blood and
Hmm.
guts, that to all of a sudden see blood on you can be a little bit disconcerting.
Well, like you're
So
laying like I had to oh, and hugging a pillow. You told me to make sure I hugged a pillow. Absolutely. If you're having the surgery, you need a pillow that is your belly pillow. I know that sounds weird, but this and like through all of it, all my kids were like, "Where's mom's belly pillow?" Because hugging a pillow like really does help when you go to sit up after surgery and that kind of stuff.
sure.
But I was laying in bed with my pillow. That's why I was about to say that, and I felt all the warmth, and I was like, that's not normal. And so that's how I found out. But no, the pillow, I do want to make sure you tell people like that pillow helped. It was my best friend.
Yeah, good for coughing and that sort of
Yes.
thing. It sort of splints the belly fresh
Yep.
after
Hmm.
surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, you've given a whole lot of wonderful advice already to people that might be thinking about this surgery.
Hmm.
Anything I mean, of course, it sounds like you've researched it so well. I don't know if this question's even going to apply to you, but is there anything you wish you had known ahead of time going into it?
You can never give blood again.
Ah,
I
yeah,
did
and
not.
we recommend that not giving blood because you're at risk for anemia and iron deficiency. You can
Well,
give
and
you can give plasma, but not
yes,
not blood.
yes. Like I know that that wouldn't have been a deciding factor for me, but like the first time I went to get blood because I did like giving blood, when they found out I had gastric bypass, they were like, "Nope, you can't." And I was like, "What? No one told me." And I was, I was so disappointed. But that was something I wish I'd known. I didn't know about that. Uh, and this is gonna sound
I'm going
pretty
to write that
graphic.
one down.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
um,
going to need to make that part of my pre-op education.
and then I didn't. I'm sure you told us at some point, but you're getting so much information. Um, your stools when you go to the bathroom afterwards, and even now, like 5 years out, I have it happen if I eat too much greasy food. But in the beginning, it's really bad because you're flushing all that fat out.
Right,
And
right.
so your stools are very soft, but there's like this greasy, like fat
Oh, we even
layer.
have a name for it. We call
Yes.
it Agent Orange.
Yes, Agent Orange. And it'll stain the toilet, it'll stain your hands, it'll stain anything it touches. Um, the only spray I found that will get rid of the smell in the bathrooms is like a citrus spray.
Yeah.
Like poopery doesn't work, none of that stuff works. So invest in like a citrus toilet spray that helps with the bathrooms and for your loved ones.
Good.
Um, but Agent
Now,
Orange is really
let me point out a couple of things. Uh, a lot of that is based on what you eat. So
yes,
food choices
yes.
will, for example, you might have that greasy discharge you're
Mhm.
talking about, the Agent
Yes,
Orange. If you eat something fatty or greasy, and if you're not taking a probiotic, you
yes,
want to make sure you take a probiotic because that can also make you real gassy and bloaty and make
yes.
the gas real foul smelling. But a lot of it has to do with what you eat.
It
And
does.
then you just have to make that decision. Is the food I'm eating right here good enough
Worth
that
it.
it's worth it?
Yes, because
And if it
then
is, then
you're gonna be
enjoy.
sick
And
of
if
it.
not,
Yes.
well, then that's, make some
Um,
other choices.
I did learn, like you talked about how it'd make you sick if you had too much sweets. I I'm almost it's like I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm not. It's only to certain ice creams. I wish I'd known that. Like if it has too much sugar in the ice cream, it's more an ice cream, not an ice milk. Then it can
Right.
make me really sick. And I'll get like stomach cramps, like sick, even to this day. Like I can't go to Andy's or Freddy's. I have to go to like actual Brahms, or if I'm craving that ice cream, it has to be like a low sugar ice cream or some other alternative.
Yeah.
Um, or like yogurt, frozen yogurt from Brahms will work to get that sweet tooth that you're wanting. But if you try to go to like, even if you try to get the mini and eat half of one of them, like it makes me personally sicker than a dog.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hate to say it, but that's just the surgery doing its job. You know
Yes,
what
it
I
is.
mean?
It
That's
is.
not a complication of the surgery.
Oh
That's
no, no. I think
that
it's
is
just
the
something that
surgery.
like just know that that's normal and that it's telling you don't eat at these kind of places because they're not good for you, and that's what helps you
Right.
keep it off. And so I've learned to avoid certain things because it's a tool, like you say in the surgery. It's not a fix all. It's a tool to help you learn to eat right and to be healthier. I now eat more protein than I did before. I don't cut out all carbs, but I can't eat rice. It swells in my stomach, but I eat more protein. And my kids, when they have rice, they eat it, and I'll just eat more protein. So it's a tool that really did help.
Awesome. Well, this was a great interview. I really appreciate you taking the time to visit with me. We got some wonderful information here,
Mhm.
and I just want to thank you so much and remind you to stay in touch.
Of course,
Keep,
I will. Of
don't
course,
don't
Griffin.
fall off the face of the earth with us. We want to hear from you.
Of course.
Even when you're doing well, let us know at least once a year you're doing well.
Yep, I check in every year.
I know you do. Thank you, Ann. Take
Thank
care.
you. You
You
too.
have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.